In Florida's backyards, a nightmare isn't just in your head. It slithers, coils, and strikes. Burmese pythons have left the swamps and invaded people's lives. These massive snakes snatch up pets, wipe out native wildlife, and throw the entire ecosystem into chaos. But Floridians aren't just watching in fear. Some are fighting back against the invaders. Scientists in Florida have been on the front lines of this war for years. Their main weapon? Information. To fight the snakes, they need to know where they breed and how they spread. That's where scout snakes come in. One of the most famous was Loki, a Burmese python nearly 13 feet long and weighing as much as a calf. Researchers fitted him with a tracker, hoping he'd lead them straight to breeding females. The logic was simple. Follow Loki, find a nest, and destroy dozens of eggs before they hatched into more monsters. But one day, Loki's signal led them to something no one expected. In the forests near Naples, they found him stretched out, lifeless. His massive body was covered with pine needles, but his head was gone, torn clean off. The scientists were stunned. This wasn't an accident. Something, or someone, had killed Loki, and even tried to cover it up. For the team, it was proof of something bigger. The war wasn't just between humans and pythons anymore. To understand how Florida ended up here, you have to rewind. The first Burmese pythons showed up in Florida back in the 1930s, but they were rare, exotic sightings. Then came the pet craze of the 1970s. Monkeys, parrots, lizards, and snakes flooded into American homes. A baby Burmese python looked impressive, but manageable. What buyers didn't think about was what happens when that cute little snake becomes a 16-foot, 150-pound powerhouse. Many simply opened the cage and released them into the swamps. Then, in 1992, Hurricane Andrew ripped through Florida. Among the wreckage was a python breeding facility, releasing hundreds of snakes at once. That disaster poured fuel on an already spreading fire. By the 2000s, the invasion was undeniable. Today, estimates range from 30,000 to over 300,000 pythons slithering through Florida. In the Everglades, they've become the unchallenged top predator. What makes them so terrifying isn't just their size, it's their appetite. Burmese pythons eat everything: birds, raccoons, rabbits, bobcats, even alligators. If it fits in their jaws, it's dinner. Researchers have pulled jaw-dropping discoveries from python stomachs. One female, nearly 16 feet long, was found with a 77-pound white-tailed deer inside her. That's like swallowing a Thanksgiving turkey whole every week. And they grow fast. Hatchlings might be vulnerable to hawks or herons, but give them a few years and they're practically invincible. Females can lay 20 to 100 eggs every 2 years, and they live for 2 decades. Once they level up, as gamers would say, they become the ultimate boss of the swamp. The toll has been devastating. In the 1990s, raccoons and rabbits were common sights in the Everglades. By the 2000s, populations had dropped by more than 90%. Marsh rabbits are now critically endangered. Foxes, opossums, bobcats, all have declined dramatically. The Everglades, once alive with sounds of scurrying and chirping, has grown eerily quiet. It's not just a wildlife problem. It's an ecosystem collapsing under the weight of an apex predator that doesn't belong. Even the mighty American alligator, long considered king of the swamp, has met its match. Videos and eyewitness accounts show brutal duels. Python versus gator, battles so intense that sometimes both animals die. But recently, something changed. Nature started to fight back. Back to Loki, who had the strength to take down a python that size. Cameras later revealed the culprit, a bobcat. This 30-pound wildcat had done the unthinkable, killed and eaten part of a Burmese python. It wasn't just a fluke. Trail cameras soon captured other bobcats raiding python nests. One sequence showed a cat tearing apart dozens of eggs, returning day after day, even risking a showdown with a 13-foot female python. It was the first real sign that native predators were learning to turn the tables. For the Everglades, it was hope with claws and whiskers. Bobcats aren't the only ones adapting. Alligators have been filmed dragging pythons out of the water, snapping their spines. Birds of prey swoop down to snatch up hatchlings. Even other snakes, king snakes, pit vipers, and Florida's own indigo snakes, have been caught eating baby pythons. Biologists even suspect black bears occasionally attack or scavenge pythons. Slowly, the local food web is rewriting itself. What was once a one-sided slaughter is becoming a tug-of-war. But Florida has another unlikely ally: the weather. Burmese pythons evolved in the hot jungles of Southeast Asia. Cold is their kryptonite. When temperatures drop below 59 degrees Fahrenheit, pythons slow down. At 50 degrees Fahrenheit, they're barely moving. Freezing nights can kill them outright. Scientists have found snakes curled up in burrows, stiff and motionless, or lying helpless on the surface, easy pickings for predators. But here's the twist: not all of them die. Some survive. And recent research shows genes for cold tolerance spreading in the population. If that trend continues, these snakes could march north, expanding their empire. For now, though, winter cold snaps remain one of the few natural checks on the python invasion. The truth is simple. The python's greatest enemy will always be human. And few names strike fear into pythons like Donna Khalil. Khalil is the first professional female python hunter in the U.S., and she's made a career out of it. Since 2017, she's killed over 1,000 snakes. She cruises Florida's back roads in her Ford F-150, spotlight scanning for that telltale shimmer of scales. When she spots one, it's a race. Grab it before it disappears into the brush. She's been bitten dozens of times, thrown into swamps, even nearly strangled by a 20-foot snake. But she keeps coming back, night after night. Not for money, because the pay is lousy, but because she refuses to let her home be overrun. Her motto: we can't afford to do nothing. Hunters may be fierce, but even they can't turn the tide alone. That's why biologists are turning to an unlikely hero: indigo snakes. Indigos are non-venomous, glossy black giants that eat other snakes, including rattlesnakes and young pythons. They're like the snake police of Florida. In 2024, conservationists released 42 indigo snakes into the wild, the largest batch yet. For the first time in decades, wild-born indigos have been spotted again. No, they can't take down a full-grown python, but by targeting the young, they chip away at the invasion. They're not just surviving, they're reproducing, a promising sign that this reintroduction could reshape the Everglades' future. Back where Loki's headless body was first found, the message is clear. The python may be massive, but it's not invincible. Florida's animals, and its people, are learning to fight smarter, harder, and together. The war isn't over, but for the first time, the Everglades is pushing back. So here's the question. In this fight between an unstoppable invader and a wild ecosystem, who will win? If you enjoyed diving into the hidden battles of the Everglades, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more wildlife stories, and drop a comment. Do you think humans should keep introducing predators like the indigo snake, or let nature figure it out on its own? Because one thing's for sure, the swamp war is only getting started.